Hello and a very warm welcome to the Insider Essay, your guide to living better. Join us today as we open up to changing realities and celebrate sustainable living. Meet an award-winning designer creating wearable art with a conscience by recycling. Hear the personal story of an entrepreneur's quest to make healthy eating easy and accessible. Two sisters show us how they've returned to nature to educate about and encourage sustainable living. Visit a family home built by a permaculture expert to give back to the environment. Discover the conscious choices available in jewellery design with lab-made diamonds. And find out about an innovative initiative to build a foundation for more sustainable career options. Zandile Ndhlovu is a freediving instructor and conservationist. Her passion in life is enjoying and sharing the wonders of the ocean and inspiring others to love and protect our natural environment. She is fondly known to her followers as the Black Mermaid.
How I end up being a Joburg mermaid is in 2016, going through the most towards the end of my marriage, I go to Bali and I end up going on the snorkel trip that absolutely changes my life. And I just remember diving in. The first time me seeing beneath the surface of the water and everything changed. I felt home in a way that I had never ever felt home before. And I just knew that this had to be my life. I had to find a way to make it my life. So what was I doing before all of this? I was in corporate, but also I used to play hockey. I was mountain biking for years. And then the ocean called and there I was on my way to her. But the larger part is Joburg living as we know Joburg living to be. Moving to Cape Town has been the most amazing thing. The ocean can be free and you can access it at any time. I live in the water. I love the crispness of the water, but also the magic of this kelp forest brings me back every single morning without fail, and I'm in love.
Through the work of her foundation, Zandile is opening up conversations about the importance of sustaining our oceans. Freediving makes her feel fully present as she observes the wonders of the world beneath the waves.
Being underwater for me is the most spiritual thing. I often speak about how when I go into the water, I ask for permission. And when I leave, I give gratitudes because I realize that I come from a long family of strong beliefs around water. You know, water is a spiritual place, and to be able to partake in her is such a massive privilege. So that was an amazing dive. I managed to get some sea lettuce for lunch today, along with some kelp. And the best part of the dive, mermaid coins. These come off some of the mollusks in the ocean. And if you're lucky, you get gifted a mermaid coin. Very, very special find. Becoming South Africa's first Black freediving instructor was the most amazing thing. Finding out was like, really? But for me, I realized that it was not an individual achievement. I believe that it is a country's achievement. It talks about a country's ability to dream despite where she comes from. And I think that's a very powerful thing as we write our own narrative going into the future as South Africa.
With the spoils of her foraging, we head back to the trendy coastal town of Muizenberg along the False Bay coastline.
Foraging is such an important part of, I think, each and every person. Like, we should know how to get our own food from the source. And I think the most important thing is knowing to do it sustainably and in a responsible way. So like when you look at here in Cape Town, I went on a course to learn about foraging, to learn which kelp you can pick and which you can't, and what animals that you find in the ocean that are actually you're able to forage, like mussels, etc. In order to be able to forage, you do require a permit, and that's important because that's how we know that we're doing it sustainably, and things need to be measured. We know this in order for us to be able to preserve our pristine ocean environments. Every single time I'm in the water, I always come back and I'm just like, famished. So we're gonna make lunch. I'm so excited to share about the salad that we're gonna make today. It is obviously a kelp-inspired salad. So what we do have here is we got some kelp, but we also got some sea lettuce that we're also just gonna give a little bit of a boil just so that it becomes a little bit tender so it's easier to digest. And we're gonna be serving that with broccoli and spinach and chickpeas, avo, mushrooms, jalapenos, and this delicious pear, and served with a bit of mustard. It's an absolute favorite for me. I love chickpeas, I love avos, I love kelp, I love everything that's here, so it's gonna be delicious.
Zandile's high-spirited happiness is contagious as she encourages us all to care more deeply about preserving our oceans and ocean life.
We have our beautiful bowl of delicious, nutritious earth goodness. And what's also interesting and I wanted to share is when I'm done cooking my kelp, I often keep the water afterwards and I use it as kelp tea. So I will have it for the days that follow afterwards and nothing goes to waste.
Apart from diving, Zandile has also discovered surfing and has a beautiful philosophy about this sport being a way to connect and feel at one with the sea.
Surfing was one of my first experiences with the ocean. And I just remember thinking, riding water has to be a superpower. And so I went for this like 2-hour surf lesson and I stood and I knew that I had superpowers. I can ride water, it's a whole thing. But I absolutely love it. It's such a beautiful place to be, especially when you share it with friends. If you love what you've seen today, go check out my podcast. It's called The Ocean Tribe Hangout. We do passion, inspiration, and representation, all facing the ocean arena. And like I always say, we are land-based ocean humans. You gotta tuck in. With that said, we're gonna go surfing. It's been lovely hanging out.
Coming up, meet a designer creating beautiful wedding garments with recycled plastic and be inspired to make conscious choices about healthy eating. With a proud Polish and Russian heritage, Lara Klawikowski is a South African designer and illustrator whose fashion philosophy and designs are inspired by her mission to make sustainable fashion. She uses recycled materials to create her fabrics and specializes in unusual wedding dresses that reflect her love of flowers.
Hi Insider SA, I'm Lara Klawikowski. I'm a fashion designer and I'd like to show you my work today. Please come in. It was always a childhood dream of mine to be a fashion designer. I spent most of my childhood dressing up and draping clothes and fabric on myself and my sister, and I was always fascinated by how clothing is made, what it's made of, and how you can change up how a piece of clothing looks by styling it a different way. Over the years, I've used upcycled and recycled materials and created my own unique fabrics. I've used recycled plastics made from recycled materials and fabric offcuts and smocked and pleated and stitched the materials together so that they are unique and special, and even more special than something you would find in a traditional fabric store. Most of my business is creating unconventional wedding dresses, and I found that using things like plastic bags, and most of these fabrics are made from 100% recycled materials or have some sort of element of upcycling or recycling. So using these in my panels and my materials for clothing was a more sustainable approach. One of the techniques that I used for my latest collection is taking the sheets of recycled plastic, layering them out, and then essentially sandwiching bits of fabric waste in between the plastic and then stitching them so that they end up looking like something like this, where they've got a bit of stretch in them, and then taking these kind of panels and pinning them on the mannequin, pleating them, and playing with organic shapes and botanical features and recreating those elements in the dresses so that they look like a flower and very feminine and floral. This is one of my latest designs from my collection showcased at the Vodacom RED in July, and it was inspired by flowers and the botanical textures of flowers, specifically like the flowers you find in this garden, and the colors and the folds and how you can mimic all of those floral textures in sustainable materials quite easily, and it ends up being something very unique and beautiful and a completely unconventional take on bridal wear.
Stellenbosch is known as one of the biggest botanic gardens. So it hosts over 7,000 plant species. You are in the space of natural living things, so one is bound to be inspired when they visit the garden.
So this is also a look from South African Fashion Week earlier this year. But what's wonderful is that although it's a runway look, it can also be worn as an alternative wedding dress. And what's wonderful about it is that the skirt underneath can also be used again and worn with something else. And the top layer of the dress can also be worn over a pair of pants or another skirt. So there are options for this to be more than just a one-day wear. I describe my designs as wearable art because they are artisanal in terms of the fabric usage and how fabrics are manipulated and changed up, and they don't necessarily all follow one specific pattern. There's an element of experimentation and unpredictability in the way that the fabrics fall and how they fall on each person that wears the design. So it would be more a piece of art that you can wear, and that's why it's wearable art. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you've been inspired by nature and the fashion that you've seen, and I hope that you are inspired to make more sustainable fashion choices in the future.
Lara Klawikowski's artistic approach to life allows her to think creatively about reinventing our world for the better. Combining a conscious mentality with artistic imagination, she is able to create statement pieces whilst at the same time promoting sustainable living. What started out as a business between three friends, Kauai has grown into a global franchise promoting healthy eating. Through an exciting partnership, Vodacom RED VIPs now get access to benefits at their stores. Entrepreneur Dean Kowalski explains how his personal health and sustainability goals have shaped those of the business.
Hi, I'm Dean Kowalski, CEO of Kauai, and a very warm welcome to my house today. So mine's been a very personal journey. I've come from a traditional corporate finance business background, very hectic, fast-paced, and very unhealthy. It had an impact on my life, a negative impact in terms of my well-being, and realized I needed to make changes to my lifestyle in order to improve the quality of my life, the efficiency, the ability to work at a high level. So I was fortunate enough to make some changes, start eating healthy, changing bad habits, and had a profound impact on my life. And effectively taught me and said, well, if this can have this impact on my life, I've got a role, a responsibility to share this message, and very fortunate that I was able to get into the health food space and get involved with Kauai or found Kauai. Today, it's hopefully changing many people's lives in the same way it changed mine.
Hi, I'm John Berry, one of the founders and head of product here at Kauai. So when I think of Kauai, I think of fresh, healthy, dynamic brand. Has its island roots in Kauai. Primarily, it's always been about health, but never compromising the flavor or the experience for that health. Our heart and our passion has always been making health food accessible. too many people compromise their health because of convenience. So we got to make healthy food convenient and always never compromising on the taste and the experience.
Hi, my name is Trevor and I'm the Brand Standards and Operations Auditor here at Kauai. So the partnership with Vodacom and Kauai started over a year ago, making healthy eating more accessible to South Africans. The ongoing promotion that we have with Vodacom RED is that Vodacom RED customers stand a chance to win Kauai smoothies or organic coffee. And they get that through their daily shakes or mega shakes, and they get a code sent to them on their phone. And all that they would have to do is come to one of our stores and redeem that. And since August now, we have launched for Vodacom RED VIP that customers get a 100 Rand voucher sent to them on a monthly basis, and they can spend that on any menu item at any of our stores.
Eating healthy can be a challenge. There's Kauai QSR restaurants, but you can't always go out to eat healthy at a restaurant. And I find it challenging at home to constantly be creative, come up with new ideas to cook. So it's all about convenience, accessibility. How do we bring healthy food easily and accessible into people's homes? And that was the start of Kauai Smart Meals. It's its ability to give healthy, chef quality meals with incredibly locally sourced ingredients delivered to your homes. It's a very seamless, easy process, all online. You go online, you decide what are your goals for the month. Do you want to eat plant-based? Do you want a low-calorie diet? Or are you interested in performance? Are there certain performance goals you want to achieve? So a very easy process, fair amount of tailoring that can give you what's unique to yourself. If you want additional items, if you want more, if you want less, very easy, simple process to get healthy meals into your home.
So this is our new Smart Meals Factory. This is where we're producing all our exciting meals that we're delivering to your home. You know, Kauai, we only have products as clean as possible, so no preservatives. So we're only using free-range beef, we're using free-range chicken. So our 3 diets, we have a carb clever diet, we've got a plant-powered diet, and we've got a performance and fitness-oriented diet where we've worked out all of the macronutrient goals. But we do that with making it taste amazing, clean as possible, and exciting variety of products to help you live the balanced lifestyle that you want to achieve. We've done all the thinking for you. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, including an AM snack and a PM snack, nutritionally balanced. So that's a lot of thinking taking out of the mix. There's a lot of people, they don't plan and they rush and they eat the wrong things. So we've taken care of your entire, not just day, but the entire week. So should you choose a 7-day with breakfast and all the meals, you actually have such an amazing, tasty product with a variety of flavors that's nutritionally balanced. We've also got an exciting partnership with Vodacom, where the Vodacom RED customers get a special offer on the Kauai Smart Meals.
I think in the old days, our grandparents, parents ate real foods, foods that were easily recognizable. I think people are understanding that it's time to go back a little bit to the past, to look at authenticity, look at real natural ingredients. It doesn't take away from the deliciousness or the ability to create incredibly delicious and tasty meals, but for sure there's a move back to say, you know what matters? My health matters, my lifestyle matters, and let me align my foods and what I eat with my lifestyle goals.
Unlock a world of exclusive benefits and rewards when you switch or upgrade to RED. From travel discounts and entertainment to premium services and signature experiences. Experience RED and unlock more with Vodacom RED. Stand a chance to win one of 10 10-gig data bundles courtesy of Vodacom. To enter, find the Vodacom post on the Insider SA social pages and comment on the post telling us a benefit you would enjoy experiencing with the new Vodacom RED plans. Competition closes at midnight on Saturday 9th October. Winners will be announced on Expresso on Monday morning 11th October. T's and C's apply and can be found on the insidersa.co.za. Coming up, meet sisters who have both become successful entrepreneurs while staying true to their beliefs about sustainable living.
Insider SA, connected by Vodacom RED. Switch to a new Vodacom RED plan to unlock more.
The Stodel sisters were raised by their parents to have a deep appreciation of their relationship with the world around them. Taking these lessons into adulthood, Roshana Gray has made a career from foraging and education, and Safia Tucker has built a business working with ethically sourced leather.
Ilundi is a handcrafted leather bag company. We cherish age-old techniques and traditional ways of making things. We don't use any machines. Our hands are the machines. Each product can take up to 3 hours to make. And what sets us apart from our competitors is that we offer hand-painted customizations on every product. We use only locally and ethically sourced materials, mainly leather. And this is very important to us because it empowers and feeds the local economy and local businesses, and it has a great impact on the social environment and our natural environment. This is our locally and ethically sourced leather. So all of the hides that we source are tanned within South African tanneries, and they are all a byproduct of the meat industry. So essentially, we are using a product that would ultimately be destroyed or discarded, and there are no harsh chemicals used in the tanning processes. Once we've selected the leather, we use these dyes for our small products, and we click them out in our presser machine. And once the products are clicked out, then it's super easy to put together, hand stitched using the slit guides. Once the product has been cut out with the die cutter, it's all stitched by hand. Hand stitching creates a product that is much more superior and longer lasting. Love and care is taken into consideration in every step. So I studied fine art first, and one of my majors was sculpture, and that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with leather. And then I stumbled upon leather craft, and I taught myself entirely. With this new range, it's really great to be able to express myself creatively in this way, something that I haven't done in such a long time. And it's such a joy to walk into the studio and to know that I can just do this for the whole day. This is our new range. We've utilized soft pastels, pinks, pistachio and light blues, invoking the feeling of spring and new beginnings. This is the mini purse. And next, I've created a soft sling. So we use vegetable tanned leather for the strap, entirely hand-stitched. Very simple, timeless, and classic. All of the designs are done by hand, hand-painted, and they are inspired by time on my sister's farm and time in nature.
Heading out to the Good Hope Gardens nursery in Cape Point, we meet Safia's sister, Roshana Gray, founder of wild foraging venue, Veld and Sea.
At Veld and Sea, we offer wild food foraging workshops that run according to season, as well as educational events that focus on nature, self-sustainability, and arts and crafts. What we aim to inspire here at Veld and Sea is to foster a connection to the natural world through creativity and education, using food as a tool for education. This is our cultivated wild herb garden, and it's just a great example of how one can utilize wild flavor, namely fynbos aromatics, medicinal and edible, in a really sustainable way. The importance of sustainability, specifically looking at harvesting plants from the wild, is there needs to be another season for yourself, for the pollinators, and for the plant to regenerate. So it's very, very important. And the beauty of working in this way is that you really come to understand the full picture and the ecological cycles behind these plants. These weeds that grow all over the world are the best because you can actually look online and you can find all kinds of recipes. This is mallow. You can make really nice chips with these. You can use these in place of dolmada leaves. Makes a nice pesto. This is Carpobrotus edulis, or sour figs. They're one of South Africa's best known wild fruits. And they have these beautiful yellow or pink flowers, depending on where you are. After these flower petals kind of fall away, then the base of it over here starts to develop into a really delicious fruit. The beauty of buchu is that there are so many different species of buchu, and you actually have to be a proper specialist in order to identify what species they are. When you do use buchu, there's also a specific time to harvest them, which is in winter time, especially in Cape Town here with our winter rainfall. So delicious. But if you come back here in summertime, harvesting from the fynbos is not sustainable in summertime, because even if it's in your garden, because they are really holding onto all of their essential oils in summer. And if you come past here and you pick the same little sprig of buchu, it's really not going to smell like much. So there really is a season for flavor with buchu. This is my edible flower garden. So all of these flowers that are planted here in the garden are edible, and they form an edible color palette for our food art creations at Felts & Seas workshops. So I've got lots to work with here. My artist kit is full. So let's get to work and see what we can create. Cheers! Nice to have you.
Cheers. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. This is the Innovating kombucha made with botanicals from here.
Wow.
This is how we make a edible flower spring roll with real beautiful edible flowers that we've just picked in the garden. We're going to use rice paper wrappers. You have to soak it in water for a little bit, just so it becomes nice and pliable like this. You pop it down on your board. And so the main thing that you must remember when you are putting the flowers down on here is to do like a reverse system. So you can't put them at the top, because when you roll it, that's what you're going to see is the back over there. So you want to put them down backwards. So for instance, if I use this pansy, I'm not going to place it down like that with the top facing me. I'm going to place it the other way around. And then the placement of this is in the very middle here in a little rectangle.
Okay.
And then once you've done that, you can add whatever ingredients you like. Once you've got all of your ingredients in, then you can start to roll. And it's as simple as folding the top and the bottom, and then you roll it from the right side, and then you continue rolling. So you're just securing this into a nice, neat little package. A little bit of sesame seeds on top to make it look gorgeous. It's ready. Look at that. My relationship with Sophia is very inspired. I'm very inspired by the work that she does. Yeah, the amazing creations that she comes up with. I'm really grateful to have an amazingly talented sister like her.
I feel so blessed to have you as a sister. And I'm always inspired by everything you do. Just the amazing amount of knowledge that you have and you impart and you share with everybody. Yeah, we're also lucky.
So we use flower crowns at the start of all of our flower workshops. It adds such a lovely celebratory air, and we use a non-wire form. So everything here is made out of plants, and then guests bring in their own flowers, and we harvest flowers sustainably from our gardens and from the mountainside to be included in this fantastic celebratory crown. Because as soon as you pop a crown on anybody's head, they immediately become a goddess.
Sisters Rushana Gray and Safia Tucker remind us of the abundance our natural world has to offer, and how important it is to look after and cherish Mother Nature, and to protect its sustainability. Next on the Insider Essay, explore a family home that shows us firsthand how to give back to the environment, and discover sustainable options in jewellery design. Diamonds and other gemstones have long since been a way to celebrate love and commemorate special occasions. Jewelry designer and young entrepreneur Shaden Norkir is changing the way we think about bridal jewelry, helping promote a more sustainable approach by encouraging the use of lab-made diamonds.
My love for diamonds started when I was a child. I had seen lots of magazine ads of diamonds and it really just captured me. And in my spare time, I would do a lot of research on diamonds and read up about it on the internet, and I've just always been really obsessed with gemstones and diamonds. We work with all gemstones, but we largely focus on moissanite, lab-grown diamond and natural diamonds, as well as tourmaline and morganites. Traditional diamonds are mined from the earth and lab-grown diamonds are made in a laboratory. They are made by mimicking the underground process that happened in the earth millions of years ago when natural diamonds were formed, just with high pressure and high temperature. There's absolutely no difference between mined diamonds and lab-grown diamonds. They are chemically, optically and physically exactly the same. And it is actually very difficult for professionals to even tell the difference if they don't have the correct equipment. Here we have a lab-grown diamond and a natural diamond. There's absolutely no difference between the two. The differences that you can see here is obviously in carat size and cut and in color, because this one's a slightly more yellow diamond, this one's a whiter diamond. If these two diamonds were comparable in carat weight and clarity and color, this lab-grown diamond would be about half the price of the natural diamond. But as you can see, there is no difference between the two. Chemically, optically and physically, they are exactly the same thing. I absolutely love working with gemstones because there's so many different kinds and colors, and they're just absolutely beautiful, and they're such a nice alternative for the untraditional bride. We have here some topazes, some tourmalines, amethyst and praise. They're all beautiful gemstones in different colors and cuts. They also have different refractive indexes, which means it's basically how the gemstone behaves when exposed to light, how the light travels into the stone and how it travels out of the stone, which affects its sparkle and the different colors that they show.
Gemstone cutting is an ancient art actually, and goes about, from what we know, many thousands of years. A lot of the methods has not changed very much. It's very big in the East, also Europe, and in the US. So South Africa, we do not practice gem cutting from an industry perspective that much anymore. There's only a few of us left, but the younger, more artisanal people are actually now coming on board and showing interest in reviving this art. What I have here is raw materials actually from Africa. The one is known as the peacock sapphire. It's a multicolored sapphire that goes from a yellowish to a green to a blue in one stone. So it's currently hugely fashionable. And where we get our stones from is from Tanzania. And the rough piece looks like a normal little pebble, piece of glass effectively. But once it's been cut, it's basically then turned into the jewel that gets put into a jewelry piece.
Ek beplan om verloof te raak binnekort en ek wil vir my 'n ring laat maak en ek wou is dit so naby as moontlik in die prentjie gekry het en hulle het 'n briljante job gedoen. Ek's baie happy daarmee. Ek het geweet jy kan diamante in die lab groei, maar ek het nie geweet jy kan so sulke groot diamante groei nie. Ek het nie geweet dis eers 'n ding nie. En toe ek daarvan hoor, was dit actually vir my baie cool, want ek swat chemie en so dit interesseer my baie. Jy weet waar dit vandaan kom, jy weet dit is sustainable en jy kry presies dieselfde ding wat jy kry in die natuur. In fact, soms beter, want die omstandighede waaronder dit gemaak is baie meer beheerd as in die natuur.
Our sustainability goes beyond just ethically sourcing lab-grown diamonds, natural diamonds and gemstones, but we also run a little speckworm initiative which ties in nicely with my agricultural degree. The speckworm is a powerhouse of a little plant and it is very efficient at sequestering carbon dioxide. And so for each sale that we make, we plant 5 speckworm cuttings. We've planted over 5,000 speckworm, and we also include a little speckworm cutting in our packaging, which is very nice for our clients to plant and just to make them feel like they're part of our initiative.
Ja, ek follow eintlik al lank vir Artisan op Instagram en ek het hierdie sentimentele steentjies by my tannie gekry toe ek 18 was. En ek wou toe besluit maar ek moet definitief iets spesiaals daarmee maak en toe besluit ek mag my 21ste verjaarsdag gaan ek vir myself 'n spesiale ringetjie maak. En toe die tyd baie vinniger gekom as wat ek eintlik gedink het. Dit is fantasties, dit is beter as wat ek gedink het dit gaan uitkom. Dit is beter as die CAD design wat hulle vir my gestuur het en ek is so happy daarmee, ja.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how much you spend on an engagement ring or what you buy, because the whole point around an engagement ring is the sentiment. So whatever you're going to put on your lady's finger, she's going to be absolutely in love with it because it symbolizes a very significant moment in your life.
Thank you so much for visiting our showroom today, Insider SA. We hope that you've learned something new about diamonds, gemstones and jewellery.
The world around us is constantly changing, and with people like Sharon Nortje at the forefront of tomorrow, we're certainly in good hands. Many of us have our own ways in which we try to live sustainably, but for people like permaculture expert Andrew Jamieson, it's a way of life. He shared his skills on how to be mindful about the impact we have on our environment.
The home that we've created here you could call an eco-home or a sustainable home. It's built very much along the lines of a permaculture design process. So a lot of what we did was, with renovating the home, was placing emphasis on making it non-toxic and then ensuring that at the end of the life cycle of those materials that they could go back to the earth and biodegrade in a way that wasn't going to be harmful. So this is a timber home, so all of the wood that we've used is actually biodegradable. Not just in the sense that untreated, but it's treated with a biodegradable wax. I now have a permaculture design business. It's called Leaf and Stone. Permaculture is defined as the design and creation of human habitats that are beneficial to all life, essentially. Everything that humans need to live and sustain themselves in a way that is in harmony with nature and beneficial to all forms of life. All of this is growing as a forest, essentially. And what we're trying to do is mimic the ecosystem of a forest and grow food at the same time. The reason we do that is a forest is essentially the climax of an ecosystem. You know, we're not just reusing a piece of land over and over to grow the same things. We're actually building soil which is sequestering carbon. We've got loads of diversity here in terms of animal life and insect life and plant life, all interacting as an ecosystem, and that's what we want. So this is our insect hotel. This is a great example of permaculture because what we're doing here is creating a little habitat for insect life, essentially. Yes, inevitably, some of these things are going to eat some of the plants we have here, but ultimately, a lot of them will eat the bugs that'll eat the vegetables. So we're creating an ecosystem that is in balance. This is our grey water system. All of the house's grey water runs down via gravity, and then it ends up here in what's called a banana circle. The reason we use bananas is they love water. A banana tree drinks about 25 liters a day. So there's about 10 bananas here, so that's 250 liters a day. A banana tree produces its bunch and then it's done, unfortunately. Then we chop down that banana tree and it goes back into the middle to feed the rest of them. So that's kind of how the cycle works. Let me just show you a few of the materials that we've used in the renovation. It's a timber home, so there's a lot of wood. It's obviously a great building material because it's pulling carbon out of the air, which is great. It's renewable if done correctly. A lot of the plaster that we did in the house is, it's called tudlucked. And it's a process of mixing lime with a very fine sand. You take a stone and you polish the plaster and there's a chemical reaction that forms that makes it completely waterproof. All of the sand that we used to do this came from the building site, and that was perfect for the plaster. Wouldn't be much point in having a sustainable home when the car you drive is probably the biggest contributor to climate change. So the solution to that for us was to run the car on biodiesel. Biodiesel is recycled vegetable oil from restaurants. The biodiesel is carbon neutral because whatever carbon the car is going to burn when it burns the fuel is taken in by the vegetable plants that are grown to make the fuel in the first place. So whatever you let out, you take in.
Growing the food you eat is one sure way of knowing where it comes from and how it has been prepared.
You know, even a lot of organic certified produce is still not that good for you. So growing food in your garden in healthy soils, you know, gives you food that you can be 100% convinced has nothing in it that's bad for you. And furthermore, the healthier your soil, the healthier the plants are. So basically, the more goodness you're getting into the soil, the more nutrient dense the food becomes. Even to the point where the bacteria that live on these plants are actually super good for your gut. It creates a really diverse microbiome, which a lot of studies are showing now that is really, really important for health. So when I asked the question of why sustainability, why an eco home, I mean, it was something I was always passionate about in two senses. One out of maybe a sense of responsibility, or you know, what can I do, or how can we live differently? For me, it was really, really important to be able to live in a way that was sustainable. And I guess our homes are the biggest footprints that we have in many ways. Of course, all the food waste that is left over goes back into the compost bin. The thing with living a sustainable lifestyle is that it's a journey. One doesn't need to be doing everything 100% correct and 100% sustainably. One can start with very small actions. I think in the long run, that's far more beneficial than expecting everyone to be living a perfect 100% sustainable lifestyle.
Andrew Jamieson helps remind us that in nature, nothing goes to waste. And he encourages us to get excited about the role we can all play in sustainable living. Next up, discover an innovative education initiative to build a foundation for sustainable career options.
Sponsored by Capitec. Simplify banking. Live better.
As part of Capitec's ongoing commitment to improve numeracy and financial literacy across South Africa, the Capitec Foundation recently hosted a math tutor event at Palm Ridge Extension 6 Secondary School in Gauteng. The foundation focuses predominantly on maximizing the potential of our youth and the sustainability of their future by assisting in the development of math educators.
The Maths Tutor program is aimed at helping high school learners with skills to do better in mathematics. It's an after-school program which we've developed as a way of assisting high school learners who have a potential of doing better in mathematics, but while also helping to develop future teachers by recruiting university teaching students that are being trained and assigned to learners that they tutor in schools in provinces where we are present.
The program has got multiple outcomes. The one is for us to develop future teachers, and that is the reason why we are utilizing students that are starting to be maths teachers, because that when they enter into the profession, they've got a better chance of succeeding in their first and second year of teaching in the real world. The second outcome is to help develop learners so that when eventually they reach grade 10, they opt for maths as a pure subject as opposed to maths literacy. When they pass matric, they will have entrance into university and they will have better opportunities in terms of career options.
We are planning to expand the program. Through the digital platforms, we are aiming to reach more learners across provinces. Next year, we will be in 9 more schools in the Eastern Cape, KZN, Gauteng, as well as the Western Cape.
Now in his second year of teaching in a full-time position, Khupulang Legeta is one of the graduates who benefited from the program, which provides guidance, mentoring, and vital skills training to enter the workforce.
The program helped me a lot in teaching me certain skills, but most importantly about how to teach in small groups, but also very importantly about mentorship. I was mentored by Dr. Yuri and Dr. Chris, and they deposited a lot of knowledge into how I practice my teaching and manage my classroom. My love for maths and science was ignited by my life sciences teacher. I think he was a very, very important role model in how he conducted himself, how he presented his lessons, and how he presented the profession generally. So I think he's the one who really ignited my love for science and mathematics. When I took a gap year in 2015, I realized that I think I've got a love for teaching because I was assisting my little brother who was still in high school back then. And I think I really helped him get through high school. And then shortly after that, I realized that I think this is something I want to do for the rest of my life. And here I am today. I studied at CPUT. I did a B.Ed in education. I'm currently doing my honors at Stellenbosch University in curriculum inquiry into mathematics education.
Equipped and ready, Khupulang started his career as an educator at Curro Delft, an innovative and technologically advanced high school. He has quickly made a positive impact on learners and staff, and Headmaster Phil Snyman is proud of his achievements.
This wonderful man I met back in 2019 when we started recruiting staff when we opened the school. He just came out of university, and Mr. H, as he's commonly known, has immediately impressed me, being a young man with a lot of integrity and also a love for teaching, and also his subject, which is mathematics and natural science. Teaching of math and science are very important. It's part of our philosophy whereby we focus on the teaching of mathematics, science, robotics, and coding, which we believe would be the critical skills that the kids would need going forward.
My teaching philosophy is one that is one with the learners. So I'm not necessarily teaching them, but I'm learning with them. I'm part of their journey, and I'm part of what they're learning and what we are building together. Knowing that what I do, it matters, not only to the lives of the learners, but also to the community at large. That's what makes me get out of bed each and every morning.
I think that he's a really dedicated and inspiring teacher. The way he teaches us the work is really great. And if you struggle to understand anything, you can always reach out to him. He's always there.
With my older siblings not getting a tertiary education, it was really, really difficult being the first. You've not seen anyone who has done it in your family, and not many people in the area are also educated. So it was very difficult to kind of find that breakthrough for yourself. I've really had to work extra hard to get to where I am today and where I'm going still. My low is definitely the loss of both my parents, my dad in 2018 and my mom in 2020. Those were one of the most difficult times in my life. But definitely my high was when the whole street celebrated my graduation. My parents have always motivated me to go for what I want, but most importantly, to get an education. I think they'll be really, really proud of where I am in life, what I've achieved, and the person that I've become, not only to myself, but to my siblings, and the role that I'm playing in even people that are in my community. They look up to me. The message that I would like to relay to people who come from similar backgrounds and who also don't have parents, I think they should find a sense of hope that it's possible for anyone, no matter what the circumstances are. So I want when they look at me, they should see an emblem of hope.
If you would like to develop your skills for a more sustainable future, you stand a chance of winning a 3,000 Rand cash prize courtesy of Capitec. Simply reply to the competition post on the insidersa.co.za social media platforms using #LiveBetter. T's and C's apply and can be found on the Insider SA website. Get more of the Insider SA online. Follow, connect, engage, and be inspired to live better with the Insider SA. Watch the show Monday evenings at 5:30. Repeat Saturday at 1 on S3.